comments presented to you by our Vice President of Operations for Intercontinental, the Americas, Mr. Lou Fader.
Mark, Joe, you have to come up here. She's greedy, of course. You know, she doesn't stop greedy. She's working the floor. Come on here. Come on here. So, from my perspective, I work for Intercontinental, and was part of the opening. I've been with Intercontinental for 30 years, but part of opening this hotel, it was a very special place. And whenever you go to different cities, there's always big personalities in those cities. And so coming here, we started putting some of the team together, and then one of the big personalities was Mark and Joe. I was thinking, okay, so then you hear more, and you hear more. And then you meet Martha Joe, and you say, she's not like that big, big personality that you see in New York or in Chicago and all that, but she's subtle, and she's quiet, except when her customers get involved, then she's very hotels. But Martha Joe was the number 3rd employee that we hired for this hotel. We were so happy. It was a big selling point that we would go out in the community and tell everybody about this great individual who changed, I can't talk about her previous employer, but changed ships and came to work for us. So her commitment to Intercontinental and what she saw in this hotel was very important to us. So we are so pleased that you joined us. You've done a remarkable job. $15 million worth of business, I think. Something like that. We probably still owe her a couple of commission checks. Mark, Joe, for everything Intercontinental on behalf of all sites, thank you so much. Your institution, your legacy, somebody very, very difficult to replace. Thank you.
Okay, right now we're going to have a special friend dial in.
Wow.
Debbie, are you in the vicinity? Sorry.
I'm not dialing, but I will.
I don't know where the phone is. Oh, sorry.
Just while we wait for that special person to dial in, I'm Patrick Birch. I'm the general manager of the hotel, and the words that Lou just said, I think, really express everything that Intercontinental has to say about Martha Joe. But I just wanted to, on behalf of all the employees who work at this hotel, say that thank you, first of all, for everything you've done. I only joined this hotel a couple years ago, so I don't really know all the history besides the stories of Martha Joe and the opening of the hotel. But I do know that each and every one of us who work here really care a lot about you, and we're going to miss you a lot. And you definitely have left a lot of memories in this hotel, and there'll always be a warm place for you here in this hotel. So thank you very much for everything.
Martha Joe and I are going to go down here so that he can hear you.
That's what I like to
Share with us a moment.
You just walk behind he was speaking. A little bit in your face when you look at it. It's going to find it like heavier.
You're like we're on a TV show.
He's got like a pink face. I wonder if it's Jim Reese.
Hi, this must be who?
Mr. Reese from Singapore.
Well, Jim, we've got a room full of Martha Joe fans, and we're celebrating the next chapter of her career and her life. And we really appreciate you calling in to share some comments about Martha Joe.
Okay. I'd like to hear about her.
Well, I was saying to Debbie just a moment ago that when I first got here, the first 2 people in the office were you and Martha Joe every day. I think you got here at 6:50 or 6 o'clock for Pete's sake. The 2 of you had a whole day done before anybody got to the office.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, there's nobody in Singapore that comes in as early as I do. So I think that Martha Joe's, we make coffee together at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Too much. Well, y'all had worked together for quite a while, and I'm sure you could share a couple of interesting stories with us.
Well, let me tell you, Martha Joe and I have known each other, Martha Joe, probably 15 years, probably, not longer.
That's it.
And it's been just a phenomenal ride for her. I mean, she, as you guys all know, she knows everybody in town. I mean, she'll know the construction workers' cousins. And with their children's name, he's having a baby. So it's there's nobody quite like Martha Joe, actually anywhere, not even in Asia now, that knows so many people all the time. You can never go anywhere with Martha Joe and not be seen, or somebody will see her in a restaurant, or heaven forbid, go into the bathroom, or whatever, that was Martha Joe. So, one of a kind, broke the mold. Yeah, you guys all know she's like everybody's best friend. She's actually stayed in such a good contact with me from Buckhead to Singapore. So I still feel like I've never left. So, I know it's a big change for her. She really had to take a long and hard way if she wanted to make the change. But I know there's a new chapter which means books and autograph deals and everything else.
Yeah. You better get her signature now, her autograph, before she's worldwide.
Yeah, well, actually, I've got a couple of paintings that I'm actually keeping in Singapore just in case it goes up in high value. I have an original piece, I think, from like 92 or something.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, two signed paintings from Martha Joe Cass. So.
Very nice.
But I'm actually absolutely thrilled to be able to call. I'm sorry I couldn't Skype in, but I'm having a bit of technology issues between Singapore. Actually, because right now I'm in San Jose, California. I can take that. But Martha Joe, I just wanted to wish you all the best. As you know, love you to death. And we'll see you next time I come into Atlanta.
I can't wait. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jim.
I loved it.
Love you. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. We're going to have a few more comments from Miss Debbie Grant. And Debbie is currently our Regional Director of Sales and Marketing for Intercontinental, and has been promoted as of January to Director of Brand Management for Intercontinental.
Okay. Well, I never, ever, ever thought the day would come. I really didn't, because I kept thinking, yeah, right, whatever. So I had to make some notes. I was the second person that got hired to open the Intercontinental Buckhead, and when I took on that role, and you start talking to people around Atlanta, well, you going to hire Martha Joe Cass? I don't know. Well, you got to hire Martha Joe Cass. I'm like, okay, so everybody I talk to, you got to hire Martha Joe. Mr. Favors, you got to hire Martha Joe. Okay, Debbie, you got to hire Martha Joe. So you remember where we went?
Yes.
Prime.
Prime for lunch.
So I got her there Prime for lunch, like, okay, going to make this happen. And it was an incredible meeting, and it changed my life for sure. And it put this hotel in the right way to open for success. So I had to make you my 003, because as we started getting the employees coming on, we'd be 001, 002, 003. I think Jim was 005, 6, whatever. So anyway, so we did the James Bond thing. So it was incredible. So I hired a legend, and the hotel has been nothing but successful ever since. So I have to tell you a couple of stories. We were reminiscing over the salamis. That's a story that'll come later. But the first story that comes to mind, we were in the pre-opening, and we actually officed over at the corporate offices. And Martha Joe and I would come back and forth, because we were only 2 selling at that time, so back and forth doing site inspections. So she had come over to the property. I was over at the corporate office, and I called her up and I said, I'll bring lunch, so you just stay put. So she called me back a little bit later, and she said, Debbie, I've been in an accident. I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay, and I'm on Peachtree Dunwoody. So I'm on Peachtree. I said, just stay right there, I'll be right there. So when I get there, now Martha Joe's in a 3-car accident. She was in the middle. Somebody stopped. The next car slammed into her, slammed her into the next car. Now, thank God nobody was hurt. But when I get there, Martha Joe is booking the kids' reception. Are you kidding me, Martha Joe? So anyway, she struck up a conversation. She knew his grandmother and the mother. And I think you even knew the fiance and that family. It's like, okay, just for a moment to make sure you're okay. Then I started thinking about how am I going to market the hotel. It's like, well, oh my goodness, I have the best marketing tool right here. Right here. And I don't know if you noticed the sign, or is it in the room now? Right. I was really thinking about how to put the hotel on the map in Atlanta. It's like, oh, I'm just going to use Martha Joe. And the slogan was, we built the best ballroom in Buckhead for the best hostess in town. And that just kind of set the tone. It's like, okay, we're going to own Buckhead now, and you do, and you did, and you will forever. Now, the one thing, and I'm going to try not to get emotional because so many nights. Well, Saturday nights, Sherman, Martha Joe, and I, Jim, would be here to marry off lots and lots and lots of different brides. So I really cherished my Saturday nights. But what was really so special is most of them would kind of congregate here, then they'd go out in the hallway there and line up to go into the ceremonies. And Martha Joe would take the veil, and she would do what you do with the veil. And it was almost like you kissed each one. And then as they went in, you flip in the train, and it's like you married each one, like they were your own daughter. And you touched so many lives, a lot of them several times over, right? They keep coming back. Mark of the second wedding thing going there. That's a whole other story. That's a cocktail story. But anyway, and then what a lot of you don't know, and when you make your first million off this product, I want you to remember I'm the one that told you to do it. But anyway, she makes each bride hand-stitched shoe bags. That's a true story. She picks the colors that they have, and she hand-stitches shoe bags for each one of the brides. And I do believe it's a great line of products. So there you go. But it was just, it's so incredible. So I'm honored to have worked with you. I'm more honored that I have your friendship. And you're an angel. You are a gift from God. Oh, wait a minute. And then there's Big Jer. Where's Big Jer?
I think I came a little bit prepared in that I brought a piece of paper, but I also brought a Kleenex with me, so I think I'll make it a little bit better shape.
I might have to borrow it.
Right, tear it in half and share it as we've shared so many things. Martha Joe and I both worked with Intercontinental, but if we go back, Martha Joe and I in 1990 actually worked with Swiss Hotel along with Sherman. So our lives together have been bound together for a very long time. And when I was asked if I would make some comments, I spent about 2.5 days with Spencer and Elizabeth, my daughter, and I had about 7 pages. I only have 1 page now. I said, how in the world can you put Martha Joe Katz into a few words? You know, she's a mother, a friend, a sister, a wife, a model, both print and runway. Not everybody can say that, but she did both. You know, she's an artist, she's an author of children's books, she's a bag designer, which Debbie talked about, she's a party planner, she's a seamstress, she's a confidant, she's a nurturer, she's a visionary, she's a leader. And the more that I talked about Martha Joe with my family and what she's meant to us and to so many, I finally realized that when you're lucky enough to be invited into Martha Joe's life, you're not just invited into Martha Joe's life, you're invited into Martha Joe's communities. And what I mean by that is she's a builder of communities. And when you're lucky enough to be loved by Martha Joe, it's not just Martha Joe, but you get to meet people like Uncle Charles and Aunt Esther. You get to be loved by Lee Harris. And you get to be loved by Cousin Ray and Robin and Stephen. And all of the people that, you know, made Martha Joe who Martha Joe is. But it's not just about, like I said, a hotel family or a business family. But it's really about being allowed into her world, and that's a very, very special place to be. It's something that's very unique and doesn't happen to many people. And when I thought about how Martha Joe, because I consider myself to be pretty busy and pretty hard working, but my whole life I've always felt like, God, I just can't do enough. I mean, you know, she worked across the hall from me. I used to think, you know, how can she go home and make bags, and not just bags, but, you know, paint pieces of art and host parties and put friends